JK, JK. Am I JK?
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I'm Ramona Ramirez Higgins. Hi.
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 I feel like I want to tell your secret that you're wearing the shirt you slept in, but I feel like people should know that because sometimes that's fucking okay. You still are showing up to do your job.
I showered before bed. I put it on and I got up this morning and we were rushing around. It's a cute t-shirt. I threw on some sweats to take my kid to school. I'm getting in the habit of showering before bed because it just feels like a good way for me to
wind down,
rinse off the day, wind down. And so whatever. Yes, it's fine. It's whatever.
It's totally fine. And by the way, it's not like a sleep shirt. It's not like Garfield in slippers going like,
No.
I hate Mondays. It's literally like a cute band t-shirt. But I just feel like it's important for people to know that
that we walk the talk.
Kinda, yeah.
I'm not going to fake it. Yeah. Honestly, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's worn a shirt for 24 hours.
God, no. I feel like, sorry to bring it up, but I feel like the pandemic put a new light on how many days I can wear clothes. I'd never considered how few clothes I could wear in the course of a month. And that period of years made me really reevaluate, what is necessary to do or not do. Now, I think it's clear I was probably going through a bit of a depression at that time. So I've since emerged from that, and now I change clothes and enter the world and stuff. But that was a weird time. Remember that?
Unfortunately, I do.
Let's not even touch it. It's the fucking third rail. Who needs it? Let's go to Miami at Christmas. Let's
go to Miami at Christmas. Oh my God.
Great. I love this show.
Compared to the commitment to sad beige that is Salt Lake City, with the exception of Bronwyn, and Orange County, Miami's just flipping the bird you guys could never. And they could never. The reason why I love this, one of the reasons why I really love this franchise is I don't like looking at boring shit. It is probably my ADHD. Maybe it's just that I like to look at pretty shit. I don't know. When I choose a restaurant, it's ambiance and atmosphere first, and then it's food. I don't want to go to a hipster fucking restaurant where I sit at a wood slab bench and everything is wood and sad beige, and people come up to me wearing denim aprons with leather and grommets. Stuff that shit. And that is why this franchise, it's just a feast for my eyes. It holds my attention constantly. Marysol's Christmas party, holy crap. It was just a color palooza.
A feast. I loved it. It felt like, when you enter It's a Small World on the boat and your boat bounces off the walls a little bit and then you go in and it's cool and colorful. And I was just that's how it felt starting this episode. I was ooh, we get a little bump looking at what led into this episode. And then you just immerse yourself in Marysol's Christmas party and weird generic music that was Christmas in Miami, baby. It's a vibe. I was all right, guys.
It was,
but it is. I bought it. I was all in.
It's such a unique vibe.
Free PJs, facials, IVs, a jewelry claw machine, charm bracelets that you can customize. Come on.
You guys, we made it to the end of season 7 of the Real Housewives of Miami. This is episode 17, entitled Frosty Friendships. 17 weeks we've been with these people. Isn't that crazy?
It flies by in Miami, man.
It does fly by. You're absolutely right. And quick announcement, Margie and I were discussing whether or not we want to cover the reunion episodes from Miami, or do we want to just jump in with Salt Lake City, because that just started 2 episodes ago. And as much as I hated that premiere, woo, did it redeem itself in episode 2.
Oh my God. The last scene of episode 2 was every acting class should transcribe that and use that as a scene. It was so good.
It more than made up for that schlocky premiere.
We didn't need that. Episode 1 was dumb. Episode 2 could have been episode 1, but nobody's asking me. But it does feel like the train got on the tracks and took off this week. So
TBD, but there was a discussion that we would not do the reunions and we would just jump right into Salt Lake City. But we'll work that in post.
as if I'm not going to be watching both. You know what I mean? I'll be watching both. So like whatever we choose to talk about, I'll be prepared.
Yes,
Not
I will
to worry.
absolutely be seated for both. I cannot wait. The rumor is, and of course, we fall for this every fucking time there's a reunion on any franchise. There's supposed to be some bombshell, some crazy shit that went down. That's what they're saying for Miami as well. But I don't know. Like, when am I going to learn?
I know
When am
it's
I
so
gonna
hard
learn?
because every time the editors are so skilled because they did it again where Andy's going like, whoa, I did not see that coming, which could mean like some information bombshell dropped or like someone farted and it was caught on mic. We've seen it all at this point in our Housewives experience. So I don't know what to believe, but I'm optimistic. I love these Miami ladies. Like, I do not get tired of them. I love how quickly they tear each other to the ground and then make up and then don't talk in the off season and then are best friends. Like, it's wildly unpredictable. It's completely chaotic. Maybe it reminds me of my family of origin. I don't know, but like something about it is just so, I don't know. I love a big fight that ends with a gift bag and everything's fine.
Yeah. I love
Christmas.
a tacky Christmas party with a Timu marquee. It was so bad. The marquee with the sparklers. It was just so. Anyway, we'll get there. We're jumping way ahead. Instead, let's rewind. It's Christmas in Miami, and we launched this episode with a Christmas-themed party at Marysol's pool house.
Dueling Christmas parties, simultaneous Marysol and Alexia, who did not communicate to coordinate dates. So they wound up scheduling their Christmas parties on the same day. But I did love them FaceTiming and at Marysol being like, I'll miss you. I'll send you a gift bag. And Alexia was like, I'll miss you. Like, it was just nice. They were like, some ladies will come to mine, some will go to hers, and me and Alexia will still be best friends. Moving on.
That's what I'm kind of saying last week. As we can see in the very, very, very last scene of the season, like, their friendship really transcends any kind of drama. Even though I don't want to be friends with them, I can appreciate their friendship and I admire that about them. They seem like they're really honest with each other. They don't hold back and they still love each other. They're very accepting of one another. And what more can you ask for?
I think that's why they move through their bullshit anytime it comes up so quickly. Because, you know, they had that flare up in the car last week where Alexia was like, oh, well, that's because you're negative. And Marysol is just like, okay. And it's just like, if this is a real thing, it'll come up again and we can talk about it then. But they just moved past it. And now they're having Christmas parties and they're going to miss each other because they won't be with each other. I think it's great. It's great.
So we opened with, Marysol's Christmas party is completely, it's SpawnCon like I've never. You know what this reminded me of? This reminded me of a gifting suite when it was award season in LA and gifting suites were like, they were like the gifting suites today are not like they were in the late 90s to the mid 2000s. My sister got me into some gifting suites and I was like, I still use that shit. Like, I would just come home with like the best shit. Her party looked like a gifting suite for award season. And Print Fresh has got their talons into every single franchise of Housewives.
They look cute though, dude.
I know they are. They really are. They really
I didn't
are.
want to like them because I recognized them. I was like, oh, I know Ramona doesn't like these, but I was like, everyone
I
looks
used
good
to.
in them.
I know.
God
And
damn
then I
it.
went to the website because I wanted to look and see what the latest designs are. And I'm just like, God, I'm so fucking annoyed. I'm so fucking annoyed. Anyway, I know that every small business wants to blow up, but like, it's Jesus, the official pajama outfitter of the Real Housewives. My point is, I don't know if you happen to notice Whitney Rose's pajamas she was wearing at the camping breakfast at the beginning of season of episode 2 in Salt Lake City a couple nights ago. She had on a pair, they were like an orange background with little tins of caviar and martini glasses. And I was like, those are Print Fresh. And then the whole backyard of Marysol's pool house is just
And
jam-packed with
Santa
Print
was
Fresh.
wearing Print
Santa
Fresh
in a
PJs.
Print Fresh robe. Like, what? Anyway, good for you, Amy. Good for you, Amy from Print Fresh. Good for you.
Truly.
Then we pivot to Alexia's beauty bar. She has a competing Christmas party at her and Frankie's nail salon. And again, I just mentioned this, like from the jump of this episode, even if the episode that we're watching wasn't as captivating as it turned out to be, just all of the color and the texture between both parties, even in Alexia's nail bar, it's white with pops of pink, but it's more than that even. Like it's the nail salons we've seen on Orange County aren't even like that. It just, come on, everybody else take note.
It's lit like a club and like,
Yeah.
you're right. And it's Alexia and Frankie's beauty bar,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I know. I'm sorry. Yes. I don't want,
thought this-
there will be no Frankie erasure on this podcast.
Certainly not.
Adore Frankie.
And I thought it was so interesting that Alexia said, I'm not going to lie, I abandoned Alexia and Frankie's beauty bar for the last year because of all kinds of problems I've had in my life. Todd. But she said now she's ready to take control and commit to the business. But you see that hesitation in her of like, it's more like now I need to take control of this business because Todd is unreliable at best. But I did like hearing, that anytime she and Frankie are there, they have really lucrative days. And like, of course you do. You're celebrities. It's why they have like reality stars host nights at clubs, because when you're a presence in the space, people want to be in this. I would go. If I was trying to get a manicure and they had an opening, I would absolutely go to Alexia and Frankie's beauty bar if they could take me. You know what I mean?
I do. I would love to meet Frankie. Like there are some Bravo celebrities that I like. If I was to see Ramona Singer, I will tell you this right now. I am not going to go up to her and ask her to take a selfie and then post it on my social media. However, if I ran into Frankie, you best believe that picture would be going up. I love Frankie.
I love Frankie too.
I know.
Speaking of Bravo celebrities, Jill Zarin.
Good God.
What was that? That took me by surprise. Nobody explained it, and I'm furious. I feel sucker punched. Why was she there? Why are we excited about it?
I don't know. I think she probably does her winters in Florida. And so she was there because we've gone back to Marysol's party at this point, and Jill Zarin is there. And I'm just she's so fucking annoying. The thirst, it just radiates.
That's
She's
what it is.
Dripping in it.
You're right, because you can see she's not invested in the conversation with Marysol. She's so aware of where the camera is. It's like an actor on stage. She's standing 3/4 to camera. And I'm like, can you turn and talk to your friend so I don't feel like I'm watching you watch yourself? Like, this is gross. And Marysol, meanwhile, is just oblivious as she wears her like Christmas tree lampshade shaped shabby chic stuff. What the fuck was that? And I don't know anything about fashion. You do. Is that great? What was that?
To me, it looked like something she picked up at a vintage store that was made out of yarn. For a hat like that, it was flattering on her almost.
She wore it well, but
it was it wasn't editorial odd. It wasn't architectural odd. It was a choice.
It looked like a craft closet collapsed on a lampshade, and she was like, I'll wear this. However, I bet if Jennifer Tilly put it on, I'd be like, that's fashion. And I don't know why. I can't make sense of why that would be. But with Marysol, I was like, that's weird. But okay.
I don't even know where you would find a hat like that. Yes, it was crazy. So Stephanie shows up in the umpteenth bad outfit of her debut season. Whatever. A white blazer dress, and it just was ill-fitting. And we'll see next year. We'll see at the reunion. Like she said, she had a breast reduction that may have influenced, like her pre-surgery may have influenced her clothing choices and how things fit her. So I will not fault her for that. Well, you're like, bitch, she can get a tailor.
I'm sorry. I'm still scarred by the Muppet nose last episode, her Art Basel Muppet nose blazer. I'm just like, that's unforgivable no matter where you are in your breast journey. Like, no.
Ay. So Gertie and Pips show up. They're in their fancy going out gear, but then they change. Going out gear. Like they look dressed to the nines for a party that looks like it's still happening during the day. This is Miami, and this is why I love this franchise. They change into their festive, print fresh PJs. Adriana shows up in the outfit that I would pluck out of her closet. Knee-high leopard high heel boots with like a really beautiful dainty heel, a pointed toe, a black leather mini skirt.
She looked great.
It was like jeans detailing, pockets in the back, and then this beautiful brown shirt with it was just flouncy and, oh my God, I loved her outfit, her sunglasses, everything.
Yeah, she looked great. Little did I know she's a rotten devil on the inside. At this point, as I was watching it for my first time through, I didn't know she'd made a deal with the wretched devil.
Me either. Both of them are abominations.
Oh my God, I know.
In Adriana's confessional, the only way I can describe this confessional is, you know that meme that is pretty popular right now? I find it so hilarious every time I see it. It's a football player, and he's saying, "You had me in the first half, not going to lie." Her confessional really reminded me of that meme. She says, Marysol throws great events. Okay, that's a kind thing to say. Then she ruined it by saying she gets the best brands to gift her stuff, and then she regifts the stuff to her castmates. Petty. Adriana. Oh, God, Adriana. I was rooting for you. TM Tyra Banks. I was rooting for you, dude. You're a monster, certifiable through and through. I don't know if I can make excuses for you anymore. I just don't.
Not after this episode. You better not. She's hopeless. But I also, at this stage of this episode, I was like, why is that a slam? That sounds great.
That's true.
If I go to an event with like great sponsored stuff and I know my friend didn't have to put any money out for it, but I get to go home, what is the problem? I did not make the connection where she was like, oh yeah, she got sponsors. I was like, that sounds fucking rad. What's the problem? I don't know.
If you ever want to regift me a charm bracelet that you got from a sponsored party, I will be happy to accept it. Even if you tell me I got this from a sponsored party, it was free. Do you like it? I would like to give it to you. I will say, fuck yes. I will not look SponCon regifts horses in the mouth.
It's like you said, it's a gifting suite. Like, what is the problem? She didn't have to put out any money for it, and you get to go home with free stuff. I'm sure I've told you, I have a very famous friend who used to live in Los Angeles, and anytime you would go to his house, before you left, he had this gigantic closet by the front door that he would open, and it was full of everything that he didn't want that he'd been gifted. And it was literally everything from like clothes to candles to gift certificates for Botox to shoes, umbrella, like literally anything. I found it overwhelming. To me, I don't do well in shops like that. I was just like, I don't know. I don't think I need anything, but I want everything, but I can't make a choice. So I would often just leave and just be like, I don't know. And a lot of stuff did have like the name of the show on the back of it and all that stuff. So sometimes I was just like, that's not for me, but it's wild. He had a whole closet devoted to like, please take something out of my house on your way out of my house because I get too much shit coming to my house. And I thought that's nice. Whatever.
It's like a Hollywood version of, you know, when you leave the dentist as a child and they're like, okay, go to the little treasure box and pick out your sticker or your little plastic thing that's going to end up in a landfill. I had to go there. I had to bring the moon down. I had to bring the mood down. I gotta get over myself.
I thought you said I had to bring the moon down.
No,
I was like, ooh, that's
I
so
did,
poetic.
but that was my ADHD mouth that was talking too fast for my brain was talking too fast for my mouth.
It sounded
to catch
like
up.
poetry to me. So sometimes ADHD is inspired. There you have it.
God bless you, because no, that was mouth error. But yeah, oh God, see, I'm just like, what did you get? And you're like, no, I left with nothing. I'm all, man.
But it's just overwhelming and the pressure's on. And, you know, for me, when I'm ready to leave a social event, I have made the decision. I've said my goodbyes. And then to be asked to do one more thing, I'm noticing as I'm doing some tasks in my life right now that require a lot of decisions. And like I get decision fatigue like pretty quick. I have like 2 hours in me where I'm productive and then I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know what I need and what I don't. Like it just becomes overwhelming. So at the end of a night when you're full of food and booze, to have someone be like, and all I have in my head are visions of bed, and they're like, take something from this disorganized shit show. I'm like, If it was a claw machine for jewelry, no problem. That's a straightforward task. I get something or I don't, and I can go home. But don't just open a door to your trash and tell me to take a piece. Now I'm mad. Wow, I really did a whole 180 out of nowhere.
So Stephanie, they're all sitting on Santa's lap at this point, and Stephanie says, "Dear Santa, last year I asked for friends, and this year I got them." And I was like, You're 40 by now. You're all getting paid to hang out together. Again, 3 months. I understand. Like, you and I, Margie, became fast friends, like, immediately. But, like, our souls saw each other. We met in a 12-step room for eating disorders. So, yes.
You tell your whole dark, honest, deep, soaring truths, you know? So that's how we met. It wasn't like, hi, there were some dogs dropped off by a hurricane. They pooped in a room. Can you believe it? It's like,
Yeah.
that we didn't do 3 months of that.
I'm not saying it's not possible to become fast friends immediately, but yes, Margie, the key is that you and I were like our most vulnerable selves. We shared about our shit in front of strangers and sometimes in front of people that we knew, but like we shared our deepest, darkest stuff in front of other people in a room where we trusted that what was said there stayed there. Our baseline was vulnerable, raw, real.
And trust, you know, those
Yes.
rooms, they say principles before personalities. So like no matter who you meet in there, like all the principles that play in there come first. Honesty, anonymity, all that stuff. And you and I connected with respect of those things and reverence at that time in our lives, in our recovery at least. And, you know,
Totally.
I knew there was something in you I admired, and I feel like maybe vice versa. And I don't know, Stephanie's just like, I need friends. You're my friend.
Also, to piggyback off the principles, in 12-step rooms, theoretically, one of the principles is like basically it does not matter how much or how little money you have, where you live, what car you drive, what clothes you wear, none of that stuff. The main thing is that we are gathering 2 or more people with the same malady, and we're sharing our secrets so that we don't go out and indulge in our destructive behavior, whatever that may be. Stephanie comes in, and it's transactional from the jump. She doesn't have any friends because she leads with ego and her things, her jet, and by being loud. She asked for friends and she got them. Like, it's not how it works, man.
We've talked about it. Yeah, you can't just declare it and it is so. That's not what a friend is. It's not a label. It's like a connection. And I don't believe you. I don't think you're friends with any of those people. So whatever. Yeah, that was weird.
And I know I've had it out for her this whole season, but she doesn't redeem herself. Like, here's Adriana's arc. She started out like, we're like, oh man, yeah. And then she just fucking went straight into the toilet 17 weeks after. Lisa, her arc, late, all the red flags to what we talked about last week. She and Jody are the most inspirational and seemingly healthy people. Well, no, you can definitely tell Kiki is in therapy, and we've seen Gertie get honest and vulnerable in her therapy. But Stephanie hasn't had an arc. She has stayed exactly the same the whole season. Am I wrong? Am I just being unfair?
No, she committed to a storyline about how she's victimized by her twin sisters, and she stuck with it the whole time. And I didn't care. By the end of this episode, I was like, shut up. You call them, or you give them space and you cry about it. You grieve them. You do something to move this along. So at a certain point, you know, they say in Al-Anon rooms, like, there are no victims, only volunteers. At a certain point, if you're victimized initially, like, that's a big deal. But over time, if I make that my identity, I'm semi-responsible for my stuckness. So by the time we're at the end of episode 17, she's like, my sisters, they're too sensitive and I hate them, but I still think they should call me. Just one of them. I mean, they're twins. Who cares? They're both the same. I'm like, you're an asshole. You're a nightmare and an asshole, and I don't like you, and I don't want you to get what you want. That's a gross thing for me to say. That's bratty. But
I was going to say, damn, you sound like me right now.
I did. It's late and I'm tired, but I really was just like, you know, you don't. But some people do. Some people do just whine and get their way. But I hope she finds some softness when her sisters approach her, because
abandon hope, y'all who enter here, man. That is one thing where I'm not going to have no magical thinking about Stephanie changing. I've been talking about this lady for 17 weeks. I do not need to bore anybody else with my opinions about Stephanie. We go back to the beauty bar. Julia, Kiki, and Kiki brought Summer. They arrive, and Summer is so fucking cute. Oh, my God.
Adorable.
So in their respective confessionals, both Julia and Kiki are proud of Alexia for having her own business instead of relying on a man. They're both very adamant that, like, Alexia's got her own thing going on, and that is a safe space for her to be in.
Yeah. Julia's felt condescending and Kiki's felt legit. Julia was like, we women always need to provide for ourselves. I'm like, we? What are you doing? Don't do that. But I loved how Kiki said it. She said, it's important for her to have a plan B, and that's for every woman. Like, that's how you say it, you know? Like, you don't have to always be independent, but it's important for women to have a plan B. Now, does Kiki get a little cynical by saying you can't throw all your eggs in one basket? These men always going to turn on you, always? A little cynical, sure.
That was some wreckage. That was some wreckage of her past
100%.
showing up.
But at least it wasn't condescending. Like Julia going like, I'm very proud of Alexia. She needs this. We women need to have our businesses. And I'm like, you're diapering a goat, which is great. It's what you're good at and you love to do that. But like, just don't. Got mad.
It really made me mad too. So we see Alexia's best friend Johnny has arrived. We see Peter is there. There's a little shot of Summer getting a manicure, and she's so into it and adorable. She was just like wrapped. She was enwrapped of what was going on, and her little hands were posed, and I was just thrilled for her. Because you could tell she was just really into her beauty treatment. And I was just, so cute. Julia says that she and Martina are having an event with the Florida Grand Opera and the agency in which she adopted the boys. They're uniting together. And I don't know if you noticed this, Margie, but when she's telling Kiki and Alexia this, Alexia did this weird, like, side eye to no one in particular, but it was strange. Like, she was almost like not buying Julia's bullshit. Maybe it wasn't that deep, but
I side-eyed. I was fucking Jim Halpern from The Office. I was like, what is this? You know what this is? This is an excuse for you to guilt people into coming to watch you sing again, because the first go-round was pretty embarrassing. This was better, definitely improved, but like, also don't sing up against a pro because you're still not good. And she said, like, we're not raising money. We're just fortifying that classical music is beneficial for moods and behavior. I was like, what are you even fucking talking about? She's like, there's 150,000 children who need to be adopted. I'm like, what is this doing for that? I don't understand. So I'm all for this event. I'm all for awareness of whatever you're trying to do. But I left with zero awareness or understanding of what that event was. And just that, like, oh, Julia has improved a little bit since last time she sang. How nice.
so no doubt classical music can have an effect on healing from trauma.
I'm not disputing
right.
that.
No,
I'm
of
not
course
disputing children need to get adopted. I'm suggesting that Alexia's side may have had something to do with, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I cannot connect these dots. A does not lead to B.
It was not peanut butter and chocolate or peanut butter and jelly. It was, I don't know.
It was peanut butter and corn on the cob. It was like, huh? What do I do with this shit? Okay, I'll go. It's weird.
So we go back to the gifting suite at Marysol's house, and Gertie asks Adriana about her and Julia, and she tells Adriana, you know what? You've been a stellar friend to Julia, and asks Adriana why Julia is being so numb with her. And Adriana says she's really into herself and what she needs and doesn't care about Adriana at all. So Adriana feels used. She looks at Julia as a covert enemy. Whew, nailed it. No winners in that pairing, but also no lies detected.
No, that is a whole mirror. That is a two-way mirror.
Ah.
They are both the same person.
You're
it's why
right,
they
dude.
became friends and why they
God.
cannot remain friends. That is projection 101. I feel used. She's been a covert enemy. Look at what the fuck you did. Dude, you spot it, you got it. You're the same person. And yes, team nobody for sure. But like, yes, Adriana is right about Julia. And she is also just the echo is coming right back on her.
I cannot believe I missed this. I watched this episode 2 times. I can't believe I just stopped there and didn't look at it further. You're absolutely right. She is full. You spot it, you got it. 100%.
But Adriana groomed us for 16 weeks.
Oh,
We
shit,
were
Margaret,
groomed to
you're
be like,
right.
she's wonderful. She's great as a friend of. We root for her. She's so funny. Ha, ha, ha. And then in the last 2 episodes, it's just been like last week, I was like, no way. And this week I was like, oh my God, she's a monster. She's a monster.
She's a monster. So we go back to Beauty Bar. Lisa arrives. Peter introduces his girlfriend, Allison, to everyone. Logan is there, Lisa's adorable son. Lisa desperately wants him to participate in getting his nails done, and he is insistent, I do not want one. And she keeps going, are you sure, are you sure, are you sure? I have also done that. I have also, are you sured, both my husband and my son to death, where they're both like, Mama, Ramona, stop it. And I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. However, Leo I believe he did get a manicure or a pedicure last summer, and he was thrilled with it. He loved looking at his painted nails. So,
Well, according to Lisa, that's why it's called a manicure.
I
'Cause
did
it's
not
the
care for
men.
that one bit.
It's just, that's where she's just like, Lisa is still a ditz in lots of ways. And I was like, all right. And then, so we find up following Peter, who is talking with Alexia's friend, Johnny, who last saw Alexia when she was at that dinner screaming that Todd is a narcissist and crying and pleading with her friends to keep her from going back to him and declaring, fuck him. And now she's trying to pretend like it's totally cool and maybe they're going to stay married. And I don't know what everyone's problem is. It's like, well, it's on camera and we all watched it. And then we just saw a brief flashback to it and it's terrible. And Peter tells Johnny that he doesn't really want to know what's going on with his mom and Todd, but he tends to find out the day before stuff is released on page 6, which draws Alexia's attention. And she comes over to join the conversation, apologizing for the publicity around all of it. And then she tries to make a weak case for how Todd and her are communicating better, but admits that she has some PTSD from how he left. Like, yeah, dude. You haven't talked about it yet. So there's only traumatic stress. That's it.
The way she tells Peter sorry was so casual.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been doubled over I would have been over-indexing on apologizing to the point where I probably would have gone on the floor like, I swear to God, I'm so sorry. And then she says they're trying to communicate better. And all I could think of was Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave going,
You sure about that?
You sure about that? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And also, I know I was kind of Team Todd until you talked me out of it, rightfully so. I was Team Todd last season when he called out Peter. I don't care for Peter. This is no secret. In this episode, well, I'll get there. But I don't see Todd being capable of communicating better.
Also, it's on Alexia. She has not brought this up with him. She does not want to bring this up with him. They are not communicating at all. And it doesn't matter how much, if she came over groveling and crying, I'm so sorry. There's a difference between an apology and amends. Leave him. Don't say sorry. Change your fucking behavior and get away from the guy who traumatized your kid. And you're just shrugging like that's not a big deal. Like, according to you, these 2 boys are the most important entities in your life. Act like it.
Exactly. And here comes Peter saying, yeah, that's everyone's worry. If you get back with him, it's not fair to Frankie, which is what you've been saying all along, Margie. And Peter doesn't want Frankie to live with someone who doesn't give a shit about him in that way. And this is where another meme, that meme that's like, the worst person you know just made a great point that is also a popular meme in the zeitgeist right now. And for Peter to be saying this stuff, well, no, anyone can see that would be a terrible thing.
I was just going to say, America is on board with like, nobody should treat Frankie like that. Alexia is the only one who is finding a way to make that permissible. It's crazy. And then we find out in Alexia's confessional that Todd has not apologized to Frankie or Peter for putting them through that. So we are 3 months or more out from that, and he hasn't bothered to contact them. Like, this just makes my blood boil about Alexia. And I appreciate, Peter for his many faults. I have my own as well. He is a good brother. He is an advocate for his brother, and he is not going to back down because he's on solid ground there. There's nothing she can say. She tried. Like, well, that's why we haven't moved in together yet, because I am thinking about that. I'm like, you're insane, Alexia. You're insane.
I know that Alexia, I've shared so many times on this podcast how Alexia triggers she reminds me of all of the things that I still have a hard time with the Mexican side of my family. And I obviously can't speak for every Latina family. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I am just saying that in my experience, in my observations, in front of my own eyes, from my childhood to my adulthood, so male-focused, male-centric, all of it. Like, fix, how many times I was told, like, fix your boyfriend a plate. And I'm like, bruh, I'm starving too. But, like, that's what you did. And there was a long time where I did not blink about it. But that was just how it was. And Alexia's, like, in this weird thing where, like, she has fawned over her children to the point of where she enabled Peter to continue his destructive behavior. Like, for years she did that. And now she is centering Todd over Frankie. And it stuns me. It just stuns me. And I'm not trying to mom shame her. I'm not. I've been there. I've been in a toxic relationship that you can't quit. I know. But, like, I haven't been in one with those kinds of stakes. It's a choice I wouldn't make. It's a choice I'm very uncomfortable watching. It's a choice I do not understand. When the producer asked her that, she the look.
She went dead, as she should.
Was
her
itchy.
Soul passed. But again, I just want to say, being alone is really hard. Being alone after your mother has died is double hard. I don't know if Alexia is thinking clearly. I think she's starting to. And in fact, that closing scene with Alexia and Marysol, I think Alexia knows it's over and just, like, her soul is finally resigned, but she can't say the words yet, But anyways, I'm not, like, suggesting that anything she's doing is right or that it won't and shouldn't come with huge consequences in her relationship with her boys. That's shattering their trust by continuing to see that turd. But, the big picture is gnarly. Her mom died on their wedding day. He left in this really cruel and crazy way. Like, it's a lot. My head would be fucking spinning, and I would just be trying to grab onto something that felt comfortable and familiar. And it appears that Todd is what she's reached for. And but it did look like in the headlights at the end that she was the one who filed and concluded that divorce. But their date, like, it's just a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. I feel bad for Frankie. Team Frankie.
Team Frankie, dude. Seriously. Oh, God. Alexia. Oh, Alexia. Codependence Anonymous. Just regular ass therapy. I don't know, but, this is what's working for her right now. So just con cuidado, Alexia. Dude, cocaine cowboy, Herman, and now Todd. Like, oh, yeah.
But I think that's part of her trauma. 3 divorces. Remember at the beginning of the season, she was like, I don't want to be divorced 3 times. That,
yes.
To the world at large, who cares about the world at large? To her, that in her head is, you are a failure 3 times in the most humiliating ways. One of them was a drug dealer. One of them was closeted, and one of them just left in front of your son. You're the worst. Like, I can see how that would be, how you just wouldn't want that narrative to be so. And I would need a lot of therapy to unwind it. And she doesn't go to therapy. So she just screams at a dinner and then puts on a dress for a different event. And she's like, everything's fine.
Oh my
So,
God.
it's crazy.
Yeah. When you zoom out like that, you're so good at zooming out, Margaret. You're so good at it. Honestly.
Oh.
So let me go back to Marysol's party, and Adriana thanks all of her castmates for coming to her art event. It felt like old times. She says the problem is Kiki, and it was hurtful for her to make fun of her age in a mean-spirited way on her birthday. Ay, ay, ay. Oh,
And now
Adriana.
knowing that this is all born of actually saying ratchet,
Yep.
you leave Kiki's name out of your mouth. Just stop it.
I had no doubt it was Ratchet the entire fucking time. I had no doubt.
I just didn't realize there was a conspiracy going
That
on
was
behind the scenes. That was crazy.
Criminal. Yes, exactly. So we do get confirmation. We pivot back to the beauty bar, and we do get confirmation when Kiki tells Julia that she did, in fact, flee. She did flee the Art Basel party in an Amazon delivery van.
I scream laughed. And then when they showed it, I was like, it still doesn't look like it adds up, but I believe her. I believe she asked a delivery driver with that much frantic, breathless tone in her voice, like, just keep going. I was like, oh my God, she got in an Amazon van. I've thought about it, when you walk by and the doors open and it's like, it looks cool in there and I'm curious what all those packages are. I could step in and take a look, but I just I don't know. I love this show. I
do too.
love Miami.
I do too.
It's so good.
If I were an Amazon driver, I would, and this beautiful woman in a beautiful dress came up to me, like desperate to escape, I would be like, please have a seat.
Where are we going?
Yes,
You direct
exactly.
me.
Would you like a sip
Absolutely,
of my
ma'am.
Gatorade? Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. So Kiki, reiterates she never called Adriana racist, even after the Ratchet comment. And I was all, well, the viewers called her racist. At least this viewer did,
Well, and then we get that flashback moment. Was this new where we heard Adriana say, Carol has some words for you, black girl to black girl? I was like, whoa, dude, you are not making this better. I didn't realize how relentless Adriana was being. And no wonder Kiki fled in an Amazon van. And poor Carol, the whole thing is such a gross mess and Adriana is at the center of it. She's disgusting. And Marysol is rotting right next to her. They're both gross.
Yeah, she did that racist bullshit that was giving, oh, well, my best friend is black, or I have a black friend. And it's just like, dude, that doesn't mean shit.
Oh, God. It was gross. It was really gross. Kiki says Adriana basically took it all too far and she didn't want to engage, so she cut and run. And I don't blame her, especially after seeing that flashback. Yuck.
What I found gross about this scene is that it didn't really feel like Julia was coming from a place of wanting to support her friend. She was manipulatively trying to get Kiki to talk shit about Adriana. That's Julia's main goal. But she's presenting
her covert enemy.
Yes, that's her covert
nature.
enemy. Right,
Yep.
right. That's her emotional terrorism. Kiki is so fucking earnest. She's so earnest. I know she's hilarious. She has a wicked sense of humor, but at her core, she is earnest. And Julia is the opposite of that. She is a schemer and scary. And I thought it was really gross. So we go back to Marysol's, and Stephanie asks Adriana how it's going to go down at the holiday fundraiser, how Adriana is going to react or interact with Julia. And Adriana insists she's not going to bring any negativity to the event. All right.
And then this episode was just like Night of a Thousand Parties. So we go to our next event, which is Julia's opera and adoption event. And I wrote this down. She said, the purpose of the event is to put together foster care for children and the Florida Grand Opera. And I just wrote, okay. I still don't get it. So this is me. I'm Alexia, eye stinging the camera, going what? What the fuck?
And also, had it been a charity event or a fundraiser, it would have made so much sense. And I'm like, dude, why couldn't it have been both?
Why not do a matinee and bring some kids? Because she tells us that classical music is helpful for people who experience trauma. And she's saying that, she plays it for her boys and it helps them. So why wouldn't you bring all of these, the hundreds of thousands of kids who are up for adoption and let them hear a little? I just don't understand what this was. And I get so uncomfortable when I don't have a grasp on what's happening. So I was deeply itchy throughout this scene. I don't know what was going on.
You're right. Julia was trying to manipulate something into something.
She wanted to sing on camera one more time, and she wanted a sympathetic audience. So she said, this is about my boys. So everyone would be like, yay, you sang so good for your boys. Don't like it.
No, me either. Me either. So Frick and Frackula arrive, Kiki arrives, and she is just a vision in fuchsia and carrying a bouquet of fuchsia flowers. This is more color and beauty than Orange County in every single one of their seasons, even when they go to a tropical locale. Who cares, dude? I go off on that enough. So
No, we're talking about looks because Kiki comments on how good Martina looks. And then we
God.
find out that Kiki has like a light crush on Martina because of her short hair.
It was so
Again,
funny.
she's so earnest. And Martina's like, Kiki is always flirting with me.
She loves it. Julia thanks Alexia, Marysol, and Kiki for coming. And Alexia asks where everybody is. And Julia says no one else could make it. The editors show us why. Adriana is rehearsing for her performance at the Christmas party. And she is doing it under a massive screen with a projection saying Christmas at Shoma in like very uninspired typeface and design, I might add, just like her buildings and her bazaar and her clothes and her fucking house. Completely uninspired. Again, I'm not technically a designer, but by proxy, I am a designer. JK. Am I JK?
All I know is that Julia reported that Adriana is rehearsing with her 12-piece band for Stephanie's party. And then we do see that cut to Adriana rehearsing with them. And I was like, this all feels so Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras to me. Because it's like a terrible front person, talentless front person. And then this band that's working like so hard. And the other singer who was like trying to sing the track, it was painful. However, that rehearsal video was better than the actual performance, in my opinion. The actual performance was like a dud. A dud.
Yeah. So Kiki's annoyed that all of them are going to go to Adriana's show, but Adriana couldn't do magic to go to Julia's event. You're all going to be there because it's the season 7 finale party, and your call sheet says this is where the location's going to be, and all cast is required. Okay? I don't know.
Adriana is a nightmare. She's a demon, to be sure. However, when later she says, like, basically, first of all, I don't know what the event is. Second of all, Adriana's like, I didn't know you were singing, Julia. Like, if you had told me that, perhaps I would have moved. But also, a rehearsal with 12 people, I'm rehearsing for a show right now, and we're trying to get 3 people together at the same time. You cannot get adults in a space at the same time. It's very challenging. So, like, I don't like Adriana, but if I didn't know Julia was singing, this isn't a fundraising event, and like the following night I have to perform, I don't know. I'm with you. I just think Julia, everything she brings up has this manipulative air to it of like, poor me, right? Adriana's really the worst, isn't she? She was horrible to you, Kiki. And now look what she's done to me. And then Alexia jumps on board saying, Adriana's not trying to mend her friendship with Julia. If she was, she would have made it to this event. You have to show up. And Alexia suspects, and I think she's right, that Adriana doesn't like that Julia is making new friends. And I think there's some truth to that, as we hear Adriana basically lay out for us at the end of this episode. Ick.
I think Adriana wouldn't have a problem with Julia making new friends if Julia was doing it in a clean way. But she is clearly, in my opinion, in my observations, she's doing it covert enemy. She's becoming friends and it's like she's rubbing Adriana's nose in it. Like, if you make a new friend, Margie, I'm not going to feel threatened by that or be like, oh my God, Margie's making a new friend. You don't love me. I will probably want to meet them or whatever. But it's like, instead, she's parading it. This is not a clean new friendship
both
endeavor.
Julia and Adriana, everything they are doing is in an effort to hurt the other. Both of them are doing it.
Yes.
And because neither one will back down, the only place it can go is that eruption of a fight at the Christmas party. So, like, this is all just a prelude to that. Oh, God. And Julia says she takes Adriana's absence as a slap in the face to her personally and to her boys, because the event is sort of in their honor. I don't know what. Stop, Julia. Like, just stop it. This is just an excuse for you to sing. Just sing and go away and, like, don't.
The victim bullshit. It's worse than Kyle. It's not as skilled as Kyle Richards' victim. This is like you're buying your own bullshit kind of victimhood. I am repelled and repulsed. So Julia and a legitimate opera singer sing a duet. And in Julia's confessional, she says 5 months ago they were giving up on the idea of this adoption. And then it happened. And then she said something that broke my heart and my soul and crushed just every part of me. There are 120,000 kids in America who need homes. And I was just like, God damn it.
None of them were invited this evening for music that would heal their trauma. Thank you, Julia. What a service you're providing. I did think it was sweet, though, when she said that the boys have changed their lives and her marriage with Martina. And then we get this little sequence with Martina that I believe it was really sweet. You know, we see her like playing very sweetly with the boys, and one of them jumps off like a little raised surface and she goes, "I'll catch you. I'll always catch you," which feels like a children's book to me. You know, I was like, oh, I believe her. And then she's teaching them tennis, and holy shit, she can even get like a 2-year-old to hit a killer forehand. And posing in Christmas glasses, like, you know, she does seem like this is a woman who just survived 2 cancers. She's old. She's been grumpy. Like, it was sweet to see her. I would not, if you told me to script some lines for Martina opposite a 2-year-old kid, I would never say, "I'll catch you. I'll always catch you." I would never script that. So this was news to me. I enjoyed it.
You call it grump. I call it former Soviet Czechoslovakia. But at the same time, how is she able to transcend that? Oh, Martina, you're so fucking complicated, dude. You're so complicated because there are parts of you that are just inexcusably terrible.
But I wonder if like it's going to be hard for her to hang on to those parts. If, you know, when you love something so innocent like that, and it will grow up and have opinions and challenge you, and you don't. Okay.
No,
Well,
from
we'll
her
see.
social media, she's committed to her transphobia. She's not making any excuses for it. She's loud and proud.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's hoping, man. Here's hoping.
But we don't
Here's
know
hoping.
what her kids will become. I don't know. But who knows? I don't know. I liked seeing that side of her.
I
know
did
she's a
too.
nightmare, but I thought I was happy for those boys, quite honestly, because at least their home life is sweet, even if her public facing stuff is shitty.
She's whatever. We've talked about it ad nauseum so far this whole season. Then we go to the Christmas at Shoma party glam montages. Stephanie rounds out her debut season with one more girl boss learning annex appropriate quote. The motto at Shoma is do it big, do it right, do it in style, or don't do it at all. Okay, well, you're not doing it in style.
And she bungled it too. She was like, do it right, do it in style, and don't do it at all. And I was like, if you're going to say the line, you got to nail it. Otherwise, it sounds like you didn't learn your lines.
Oh my God.
And then she calls Santa fat. And I just like, I don't care for her.
I was so mad at her. I was like, the motto is also do it with fat phobia. Like, come on. It's fucking Santa. I don't give a shit. Santa is Santa in Miami or.
Also, you hired him. You could get a
Right.
shirtless Santa, shirtless surfer Santa if you wanted. Like, don't do that. I just thought that was rude to the
So stupid.
actor who was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So crappy.
Oh my God. Kiki comes with her dad and she introduces Larest to Stephanie. And Stephanie is so unhinged with meeting him. She tells him what a great job he did with Kiki. And I was all, bitch, Kiki did that on her own. She was unceremoniously turned out on the street at the age of 15. She was a fucking child. And also, like, tone it down. What are you doing? What are you doing?
He looked overwhelmed. So for a second, I felt bad for him. And then when she said, you did such a great job with Kiki, then I was like, no, he didn't. He labeled her a whore, kicked her out on the street, and just got lucky that she took such good care of herself that she's open to trying to explore this relationship. Like, you got everything wrong, Stephanie. Everything.
Everything wrong. She's so odd and
It's so
Wow.
clear she's never had friends.
no.
It's all performance and it's all outward. None of it is sitting back and listening and taking in the other person and reading your audience. Is this a man who's receptive to my aggressive, intense, shrieky, congratulatory energy that's based in no facts? He's been on camera talking about how he kicked her out and how he's learning what her real job. Like, It's confusing to everyone when you operate outside of facts. It throws everyone. You're not a good hostess just because you smiled and yelled.
It's like hearing you say she doesn't have friends and she may not have ever had friends. Something inside of me should crack a bit with empathy. And I don't think I'm being willful and I don't think I'm being rigid. I would make room to have empathy for her. And it's not even like someone has to do something in order for me to have empathy for them. But I can't get it for her. I cannot get the empathy for her. I can't get it. And I don't understand why.
Because she, instead of seeking out friendships or resigning herself to being a lone wolf, she got money. She didn't make money. She got money. And now that defines her, and she thinks everyone owes her because she has things that most people want. And that does not buy you connection. It buys you company. People will be around you because they like caviar and private jets, but that's not friendship. And then you alienate people by doing weird shit like this. Greeting Kiki's father with like an overwhelming amount of positivity that's like insulting to everyone involved. It's just so odd. She's so odd. Masood didn't even want to be there.
Oh my God.
He suddenly had a business dinner on the season finale party. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
man. Is anyone on Bravo like her? I don't know if I've ever met anyone on Bravo like her.
No,
I
she's a
don't
real
know.
island, man.
She truly is.
And she doesn't care to like throw down a bridge. She's just like, you find a way to get over here to me. And if you don't, you did it wrong. It's like, well,
Dude.
Then don't cry about being lonely, you weirdo.
That's what it is. She has no humility. She has no humility at all. Nothing. She only cries when she's talking about her sister's not talking to her.
And she's crying for herself in that, not for a lost relationship. She's crying because I want that and I'm not getting what I want.
Exactly. So there's more arrivals. Everyone looks good. Larsa looks sexy, but she's just very uninspired. Like, okay, great. You look great in a dress. You look great in a bodycon column dress. Congratulations. I'm bored out of my mind. Even Lisa, her outfit had like texture and it was interesting and she still looked sexy, like she's committed to her brand as well. Whatever, Larsa. Whatever, Larsa. Jody and Lisa arrive, and Lisa in her confessional says that she's not worried about Jody seeing Larsa, but she is worried about Larsa starting shit. And Larsa in her dueling confessional says that she's going to behave herself. So, and she did. And she did. They did.
Everyone, and this again is why I love Miami. They have these like explosive fights, but then both sides of this argument was like, it's Christmas. Let's just keep it neutral. I'm like, okay, this all seems so arbitrary and nuts, but like I was glad to see it, that they all just greeted each other and it was pleasant and fine. And then Kiki pulls Adriana to talk. And again, before I knew the end of this episode, I thought this was a lovely conversation. But knowing what I know now, I just think I like, fuck Adriana for wasting Kiki's time. This was so rude. So Kiki pulls Adriana and she's so sweet. She's like, I know you're nervous because you have a big show, but I want you to go into it with a clear mind and heart. So, I'm sorry to take your time, but I just want to do this. She acknowledges that she did the math cake. And she said, I did it, but it was not coming from a bad place. And the only reason she walked out was because of the wretched thing. She did not expect to hear that word brought up again, and certainly did not expect a conversation to open up with a random woman being tossed in the mix. And it was just too confronting. And so she left. And then Adriana smugly accepts this apology and wants to move on. And at the time I was like, well, that's nice. This healed very quickly. But, after seeing the end of this episode, I'm like, you asshole. How dare you accept her apology? I just don't understand. Don't understand why is it so hard just to say like, I am so sorry. That was so out of line. I hope you can forgive me. And I am going to really watch my fucking mouth because I was way out of pocket.
It was.
What the fuck is wrong with that? Instead of this weeks of like fables and storytelling and lies. Ugh.
Kiki puts aside ego. She practices humility. She is genuinely concerned about Adriana, understanding. She's basically imploring Adriana to hear her that she never called Adriana a racist.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Kiki is working she is over-indexing to the nth degree out of her genuine need to make amends with her friend and her castmate. And Adriana in her confessional says, smugly, well, in the spirit of the season, I'm receiving and accepting the gift of apology. Abominable, disgusting,
Unforgivable.
ugly, terrible.
Ugh. And I do love Kiki because in spite of her kindness, you know,
she blew it, man. She blew it.
But I love her for it because again, as she said of the cake thing, she did it, but it was not coming from a bad place. And in this instance, she tells Adriana she looks great for her age.
Yeah. She's one of the
I was
most
like,
beautiful
yes.
women of her age. And I was like, oh, Kiki, come on, man. And I still think she was coming from a good place when she said that. But like, it just,
She did.
just say you're one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
I
Just
truly
period.
believe she meant no harm. And I think it's coming from an earnest place of like, you know, whatever. And then they get up to walk back toward the party and Kiki comments that she can't believe Stephanie was worried about them screaming at each other like kids. Kiki says they would never, and Adriana says, nothing's going to make me scream tonight. And then if I were teaching a writing class, I would use this as an example as a flip to transition where we see 30 minutes later coming off of Adriana saying nothing's going to make me scream tonight. Adriana is screaming at Kiki and Marysol, who have confronted her about why she didn't come to Julia's event. And she said it's because she had 12 people scheduled for rehearsal and she didn't know Julia was going to be singing. And Kiki and Marysol are just trying to tell her that Julia was hurt by her absence. And Adriana goes off the rails here for me. She goes, you're going to shame me at my own event? Really? At my lifetime dream? I'm like, first of all, it's definitely Stephanie's event. It's branded in every direction. And your lifetime dream was to sing 2 stale songs and an anthem about dogs at a private party? What? Stop. We've lost all perspective.
I thought trying to reschedule a rehearsal with 12 musicians, I thought that was a very reasonable reason to not have to go. Like, that sounds like something that would literally make me crash out. I would be like, never mind, fuck it, let's just not play. You know, if we couldn't get on the same page. So Marysol, like, well, it was for foster kids. Marysol, I don't even think Marysol buys that shit. I don't even think Marysol buys it, but she's being manipulative. So this is where it's like, oh, I see it.
Oh, Marysol's laying
Yeah.
the foundation for where she lands at the end of the scene right here. She's starting.
And she says, don't you care that Julia's upset? That's your best friend. So fucking gross, dude. Come on. So now I'm like, oh, she is manipulative. She's super manipulative. The editors just don't let us see it as often. Or they do, and I've just had Marysol colored glasses on. I'm not sure. But yikes. So Adriana basically tells Marysol to fuck off and splits to go get ready for her performance.
I think it was interesting. Kiki and Marysol tell Julia that Adriana went off on them. And when they were trying to find out why she didn't go to Julia's event, and Julia said she even texted Adriana the next day to say she missed having her there and she heard 0 back. And my only takeaway from this was how incredibly good Julia's facelift looks with her hair pulled back. Oh my God, her jawline was perfect. She looks so good. Her hair and her skin pulled back. She just looked like a dream. But I thought this was interesting. And again, I am so team nobody, I can't even tell you. I'm like empathetic, lightly empathetic for both of these women and mostly disgusted on a level like I can't even describe. But Julia does say that she's harbored a lot of resentment because she has swept so much under the rug that the rug is now like laying over a mountain. She's missing some of her own agency in that, you know, but yeah. And then we transition to Stephanie welcoming everyone like a fucking robot. What is wrong with her? She had no energy in her voice. She has no presence. She's uncomfortable on the mic. Like, there is no world where this woman is an actual effective boss running a company. That was terrible. Like, AI was laughing at her going like, that's not how humans sound.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And you're right. I actually wondered for a minute, I'm like, did AI write this? It's so wild because she's so showboaty. She is just such a showboat. And then you'd think that with a microphone in front of a room full of people, that would be like, ha, like, you know, her natural habitat. But instead, it was very odd. It was, I don't want to say disturbing, but it was jarring. That's what it was. It was jarring.
She accuses Adriana of like ruining her party. And I'm like, you ruined it when you instruct everyone to let's walk to the section next door for a concert. I was like, where did the party go? This sounds like a detention.
This isn't a J-Lo moment. I have things to do. What? It's a party. Take the night off, girl boss. She's so fucking annoying, Margaret. I can't.
Everyone's annoying because we go from Stephanie saying this isn't a J-Lo moment to Adriana divaing out backstage about like where people need to stand when she's near the piano. And she's whining to her handler like, I need silence, dark, and no one taking pictures. And her handler addresses her, like the child that she's being. And he goes, are you ready? And she was like, if they shut up, yeah. I was like, oh my God, you don't get to do this. Because she comes out there and she performs her 2 hits poorly and then a song about dogs while giving us nothing vocally, wearing a leotard with fringe and like character shoes. I don't know. It was just everything about, there wasn't anything to look at in her outfit. Those shoes were terrible. The heels were like low block heels.
Margie,
I was like,
what
are you
doing? Character
doing?
shoes are to people that might not be familiar with the term.
I mean, if you're in the theater or dance world at all, they are just like the most generic heel you can ever find. It's like a very steady, sturdy heel for the stage. And they come in like 1.5 inches that makes everyone's calves just look like fucking Mack trucks. It's just like the worst shoe ever invented. And that she had a heel on that was like that. And I was like, how dare you wear those like gorgeous boots to the Christmas party? And then for your performance, you're going to wear like, oh my God, it was atrocious. Her singing was bad. Her outfit was bad. There was nothing to look at. There was nothing to listen to. Her craft is crap. I said it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. But then Marysol's like, I thought we were going to hear new songs. I was like, Marysol, you and I both know we are way too old to go hear a band and have them play new songs. I don't want to be the guinea pig for your new shit. Work it out with somebody else. Work it out in the studio. I want the hits. I want maybe a couple of deep cuts because I'm a hardcore fan and I know the deep cuts, but like, I don't want to go, don't make me like, I'm such a dick. These people
You're
are like,
not.
bitch,
Adriana is not. I don't see her like sitting off to the side with a notebook humming and scribbling lyrics. Like, I would love to have a DJ remix like, fuck you, you old whore.
Oh my
Go
God.
get plastic surgery on your bony knees. That I would love. But this was terrible. And I do love the editors for cutting to everyone in the crowd, the cast trying to enjoy it, but everyone just like slightly pained and mostly confused and but they are all good sports. They congratulate her when she sits down because, in fairness, it's very brave to perform, to get up on stage and do anything in front of anyone. You deserve congratulations. So I loved her friends for acknowledging her courage and her commitment to get up there and fucking follow through. So good for everyone on that front.
Agreed.
And that front alone.
Did you notice on the big Jumbotron while Adriana was singing the song about Basquiat that there was a picture of Basquiat? They went from the Shoma, a very merry Shoma Christmas, to a picture of Basquiat. That was so random.
Her unneutered dog that's going to brothels. Like, just everything
God.
about this show is so insane.
Oh no, you reminded me of that. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God. I want to Men in Black that shit out of my mind. Was that like the opening episode? I think it was, right? Gnarly.
Probably.
Gnarly. Oh, God. And you know what? I listen back to episodes and sometimes I hear myself say like, oh, God. And I love talking about this. I do. So it's when I say, oh, God, like that, it's like, I'm happy to be here. I just can't believe
that Adriana took her dog to a brothel. That's fair. You're
too,
allowed to say, oh, God.
When it's just I'm saying it in preparation of the showdown between Adriana and Julia right now, where it's just like Team Nobody, so terrible, just unbridled ego, the most diabolical coping skills you can pull out to like be right, no humility, just everything that
it's
that
like
scares me.
Two agendas entered a ring.
Thank you. That's
and
what I was
nobody
trying to say.
had listening ears on. Everyone was
Yes.
just like, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do this to you. And they just kept doing that to each other. And nobody wanted to solve anything. Nobody wanted to make any progress. They just wanted to win the fight at the Christmas party. So great job, ladies. So this is Julia who pulls Adriana under the guise of congratulating her privately, which nobody believes. It's like, please.
She asks to pull her bestie aside to talk. Like, she specifically uses the word bestie. Oh my God. She's
It's,
such
right
a
there.
diabolical.
It's like, we are on unstable ground.
Right.
And then she says, do you really know I'm happy for you? And I'm like, I don't believe you are happy for her. What are you doing? Just get to it. And then Adriana complains about Julia putting time and energy into a friendship with Marysol and claims Julia has been distant. And Julia says Adriana introduced her to this group and now she's being punished for making friends. And then Adriana responds saying, don't gaslight me. And right here, I'm like, oh, there's history and darkness here because I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know what she means. I don't sense any gaslighting. I don't feel like this is a real conversation, but.
I think what she means is what I was saying
dark.
a few minutes ago, where I was saying that I don't think that she would be upset with her making friends with Alexia and Marysol if it was really like a meeting of like soul to soul to soul. But instead, she's weaponizing that friendship. And that's why I think she feels gaslit.
But yes, I agree. But everybody's gaslighting everybody. Nobody, just admit you're not friends and just leave it because it gets so fucking ugly.
It does. That's why I was like, oh God. Yeah.
Julia confronts Adriana about not being at her opera adoption
Jesus Christ.
event. And Adriana basically says the equivalent of, I can't, I have rehearsal. And Julia asks why she didn't hear from her at all after. And Adriana says, because you don't care about my craft. And I was like, this is insane and now unbelievable. So now this is a comedy scene. Here we go. Because we just watched your craft and it doesn't look like you care about your craft based on what the outcome of that was. And then Adriana just goes to a crazy global place where she goes, you wanted me to let go of my dream to go to your opera thing? Really? I don't know. You could have texted, sorry, I missed it. Can't wait to be at the next. Like, it's not. And also, you're not opening for Beyonce. What do you mean? This is getting crazy.
You're playing at the Shoma Bazaar. Just, oh God, oh God.
Then Adriana calls Julia a fake, mischievous, bad friend, which is a whole lot of, this is where I believe Julia that Adriana is abusive. And I also believe Adriana that Julia is a shit friend. Like these people should not be friends. And Julia says, shame on you, Adriana. And Adriana says, shame on you. You're toxic. The mask is off. And now I see you for who you are. And I'll treat you as you treat me, like a frenemy. Shame on you for not respecting my lifetime dream and trying to steal my life from me. You know, and then I think Adriana even said, I've been doing this for 14 years. You've been doing it for 2. I guess talking about singing and or housewives. I don't know what the fuck was going on. It just felt like a big stew of resentment. And I was like, I don't know what goes where.
Julia has the delusional something when she says, are you jealous of me singing? I was all, ma'am, nobody's jealous of you singing. And I'm not even talking about the quality of her voice, not that, but just like, again, team nobody, as you say. But Adriana is not threatened by your singing. It just happened to be on the same night. It has nothing to fucking do. I was just like, oh, Julia, you are she's so in her own story. She is in her story. And she's telling herself these things so that she can be right. Oh, it's so gross.
But I disagree. I don't think Adriana does want to show up and watch Julia sing. Adriana's the singer. She's going to show up and applaud for someone else singing with everyone else applauding for her. No.
Interesting.
That's my fucking thing. I'm not going to go, and I'm going to make all of you come to mine. But again, what was Julia's? Julia's event was bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just like, this is all, everybody's crazy and horrible. So it's very hard to like not get lost in the sauce here. I just love Adriana stomping off in her sparkly fringe. And this is my favorite thing about Housewives. It's like Adriana saying like, you're stealing my life from me, and then stomps off in a sparkly fringe leotard, you know, like, and her character shoes. It's literally like nothing undercuts your seriousness more than stomping off in a leotard. It's pretty great. I love Housewives.
I do too. Julia is saying, I wish you love, But there's literally not like, are you kidding me? Again, these are the people that I can't stand. Margie, these are the people that trigger me the most. Their tone, like Adriana is clearly yelling. She is yelling. She's causing a scene. She's raising her voice. On paper, she looks like the crazy one. On paper, Julia's voice is very low. And she says things like, I wish you love. So yeah, she is gaslighting. And then she says, shame on you. Dude, so manipulative. Again, emotional terrorist. She scares the shit out of me. Julia does.
Yeah, they're both awful. They're both awful.
Oh, God. And Julia follows Adriana off and she keeps instigating. This is, again, I send you love, but let me just keep poking the bear. It's gross, dude.
She says, is this really how you want to leave it tonight? Subtext, the season finale. Don't you want to fight some more for the cameras? And then Adriana goes, did you know that my band was 12 people? And Julia says, have you checked on my children? And Adriana says, am I their godmother? It's just like the lowest, darkest, lamest blows. I just can't believe it. And then Adriana again accuses her, you used me to get into this group and now you don't need me anymore. Go be with your friends. And then we get this hilarious angle on Larsa, Alexia, and Marysol all laying on each other and Steve and saying, I love you. And I was like, this is so good. Like, it's just two totally different worlds. These two ladies screaming at each other and this pile of people saying, I love you. And Adriana has a confessional, and I believe that she's not wrong in this analysis, saying Julia doesn't really know who she is and what she likes, and she's always changing from one shiny object to the next. And then she takes kind of a low blow, saying who gets engaged 9 times until she finally lands a champion player. And I'm like, you're not necessarily wrong. But then we go back into the scene, and she says, you're only here tonight because of me. Nobody would have found you in that shit place you lived in.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, God. And you know, these are the Cliff's Notes of whatever they'd have yelled at each other about behind the scenes. They are both hateful people. If you have access to shit like that in a public setting, I don't want to know you in private when you're pissed off. That's so fucking inexcusably rude. Ugh.
And I think Julia alludes to that either in this episode or in the clips for the reunion. I'm not sure, but Julia's like, oh, no, you guys have no idea. You have no idea. Oh, yeah, I think she does say this, right?
She says behind closed doors, Adriana was abusive and manipulative and controlling and made Julia feel small and worthless. And I'm like, yeah, now she just did it on camera by saying that you lived in a shithole and you'd be nothing without me.
God.
That's terrifying.
So in her confessional, Julia says, I've seen Adriana yelling and screaming numerous times on different people over the years. And then we see footage of said times, and Julia says that's how she does things. And she's very smug. And she really, really thinks that she is just like, oh, God, Adriana is this terrible person, and I'm this little babe in the woods. And I was like, bitch, okay, fine. Adriana yelled. She raised her voice. This is what we've seen so far. Like the stuff she's done behind closed doors, I don't know. I'm just going with what we've seen so far. She's weaponizing the yelling. Fine, fair. No excuse to go off and body shame Marysol or tell Alexia, like, my fucking sprained ankle is as bad as what happened to Frankie. She's completely fucking inappropriate. She's just a terrible person, right? But I would like to remind you, Julia, who just said this is how she does things. I would like to remind you, Julia, that you violently threw a glass of water on your black castmate at a wedding party. That is how you do things. I know, Team Nobody, but I really want to drive that home. I'm angry. I'm heated. Go on. Sorry.
Well, we cut back to Stephanie being a robot again, holding a piece of paper and greeting everyone. And I'm not lying. There was no punctuation in her delivery. These are the words she said. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Christmas celebration here at Shoma Bazaar. Tonight is about celebrating the joy of the season with those who make life so special. I'm truly honored to share it with you all. I was like, oh, are you? Tell your tone. Take a fucking breath. Use punctuation. Like, what the fuck is wrong with her?
I don't know.
It's Christmas. In her confessional, she's so animated. She's like, it's Christmas. And then this is like, it's literally like she's being punished or it's like a hostage tape. Like, what happened to Stephanie in front? What, you give her a microphone and she turns into a robot, but like not even like a number 5 is a live robot, like a robot from like the first robot ever made that can't do anything remotely human. It's so weird.
Oh my God.
And then she introduces Kiki's cocktail and relays that all proceeds will go to the Haitian Health Foundation. And Kiki is so sweet. She gets emotional, saying that her heart weeps for her home country. And as they're all there tonight, people are really suffering in Haiti. And she raises a glass to her dad and her country. And, you know, she seems proud that her dad can see her doing what she can to activate and give something back to her homeland. So
she's so earnest. She's just so
she
earnest.
really is.
Yeah. So the cast takes their final cast photo of the season, and Kiki tells Adriana, here is like the big behind the scenes. Kiki tells Adriana that Marysol told her that Marysol was the one that told Adriana to say, I said wretched, not ratchet. So we see the behind the scenes of this going down. Marysol tells the group that she did try to help Adriana evade wretched ratchet gate in exchange for Adriana leaving her alone for the next 2 years.
It's a literal like fairy tale, like Grimm's Brothers fairy tale deal with the devil. And not to mention, Marysol is presenting herself like she's some hero in this, but she's having Adriana bury a microaggression by microaggressing herself and blaming it on her thick accent. I'm not a racist because I have a thick accent. I'm like, all of this is getting worse. Please stop. Please. Just say sorry for saying the word ratchet. What the fuck is wrong with everyone? Like, Housewives is a great place for me to be reminded of like the treachery of a small lie. It always spirals into shit like this and then it explodes and it's awful. This was awful. I hated this. And they made a 2-year deal?
The treachery of a small lie, you just gave me chills. You're right. Oh, shit.
But that's 12-step stuff. Like I too was programmed, conditioned, told, whatever, that it's shameful to do something wrong. So you defend it, you justify it, you explain it, instead of just saying like, I did something wrong and I really feel it. And you don't owe me anything. I just want you to know I'm sorry and I want to change my behavior and I will miss this friendship if I fucked it up for life. But instead, and with a very reasonable, Kiki is very reasonable. She doesn't want drama and tension. She would have received that. But instead, we get into this whole ratchet, which sounds like wretched and has a similar definition, and also the cake and racism. And it's just like, what is this fight anymore? Now it's too many things, and it's so bad. It's so bad. I feel like Adriana is going to get herself kicked off the show because of this behavior.
Yeah.
You can't come back from this.
Was she even a technical cast member?
She was a friend of, but I was so high on her for the first like 10 weeks. And then now I'm just like, I never need to see you again. You suck.
You had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie. So in Marysol's confession, she says, Larsa told me Adriana told Stephanie something to make Stephanie get mad at me. And then we see footage of Adriana telling Stephanie, listen, Marysol had a PR company years ago and knows how to influence people. So she uses the knowledge she has to influence people. So it's so wild to see Marysol like throwing herself under the bus. She's like, listen, I got to sacrifice my own shit to make Adriana look even more terrible than she does. But Marysol doesn't actually seem like she's also getting the gravity of her choices. Again, I'm stunned, and I can't imagine a situation in which I would even be able to think like this. Thank God. It's stunning and shocking to see it just unroll in front of my eyes.
It's surely not the first time that Marysol has done shit like this behind the scenes. She is clearly a producer, a silent producer, pulling strings back there, and it's gross. And everyone can't help but like immediately turn on Adriana, of course, and Adriana looks caught. And then Marysol turns on Adriana. So again, this is Marysol being manipulative, team nobody, saying like, and now you're going to try to be dismissive of your hateful age-shaming comments. You called my knees old, and I'm supposed to pretend that didn't hurt. And it's like, maybe it did, but like all of this is so gross now that I don't care anymore. Like,
Yeah.
And also Adriana was shit-faced. I do think Adriana should look at her relationship with alcohol because it does seem like her outbursts seem to happen when she's been served a lot. Adriana, I don't even know what she said in her confessional. I just wrote, "This is pathetic and gross. You're a free thinker with free will. Marysol didn't make you do this. Just stop." So I don't remember what she said in her confessional, but I'd had it at this point, apparently.
I wrote team nobody as well. I wrote team fucking nobody. Then they start putting down each other's outfits. All of this was low-hanging fruit, although executed like a diabolical Wizard of Oz. And then they were like, well, let's just get to the rotten fruit that's just like rotting at the bottom of the tree. They start putting down each other's outfits. Marysol, who looks adorable, fucking tiara, I love it. Her little Audrey Hepburn-esque outfit that she wears so well. Adriana thinks that telling her she looks like she's going to a funeral is a dig. And then, Adriana looks like she's wearing a skating competition outfit, which to be fair,
She does.
right? Oh,
But this is why I love Miami, because it's literally like we go from like racism to manipulation behind the scenes to friendships dying to you look like you're dressed for a funeral. Well, you look like you're going to an ice cream rink. Everybody want an Anastasia makeup palette? Great. Yay. Merry Christmas. Bye. And I was like, what? What just happened? It happened so fast. The turn happened so fast. And then I loved it. I don't know how I loved it, but everyone stayed to accept their Anastasia gifts from Stephanie. And the next thing we know, everything's fine. And we just come back to wrap up the season. What the fuck?
Kiki in her confessional, she's all, screw the life coaches, the healers, the shamans. You know what brings this group together? Gifts. Oligarch makeup, the great uniter. Oh, boy.
As I was telling you earlier today, this whole closing moment was my experience of Christmas in my childhood home. It's just drinking, slinging insults, presents, and then pretend like nothing happened, repeat.
Oh, God.
But what a ride. It's weirdly thrilling.
Oh.
By the end of it, I was like, oh no, yay. Like, it was crazy. So we get our little wrap-ups. Adriana is still not speaking to Julia. Kiki's still working on her relationship with her dad and getting ready to buy her first condo in one of Stephanie's buildings, which I hope her real estate agent advises her otherwise.
Con cuidado, Kiki. I hope that did not come to fruition. I can just see some, I don't know, black mold. Something was made with real shoddy materials, and it's just not gonna, allegedly. I don't know. That's just my gut. And the Yelp reviews I've read, because I'm petty. I needed proof to, who cares? Don't let me indulge myself, please.
Then we see Julia drinking straight, one of Julia's sons drinking straight lemon juice, and Martina commenting, they like lemon, they like olives, they like ginger, they like strong flavors. I was like, oh, this woman is so boring. Oh my God. And then we find out that Julia performed in Carmen, the opera, and one of her daughters has met the boys, the other has still not. Larsa is dating Jeff Kobe, and they plan to marry in the new year, which seems crazy, but what do I know? Gertie and Russell are just the sweetest. I loved the scene with one of her sons there as well, trying to assign cats and dogs to each other. And Russell says Gertie is most reminiscent of a hairless Egyptian cat, which pisses her off. And she goes over and sweetly beats him up, and it's so cute.
And Gertie continues to take solo therapy, which I'm so happy for her.
And I don't think it's unrelated that the next piece of information is that she's not going to do any more reconstructive surgery for now.
I agree.
Like the self-esteem that comes from taking care of your mental health can translate into some relief from my obsession with my physical faults, So I was really pleased to see that, just to give her body a break. I don't care if she goes back and does it down the line, but Lord, these last 2 years, her body has been through a lot.
Agreed.
Good for her.
Yes, nothing wrong with the tweaks, nothing wrong with any of that. But it does. I also get the sense that she is like, this is an inside job right now. I can do that down the line, but right now this is an inside job.
And she looks great.
100%.
She dresses great, like. And
my
then
God.
Lisa and Jody launched a divorce app called Splitwell. But I actually appreciate it. It's like, I'm sure I've shared on the podcast before that I can't remember if it was a therapist or a sponsor or someone in my life told me that your trauma becomes your purpose. So Lisa's hideous divorce became something for her to capitalize on. And help other people in some ways. However, they put up the ad for it and it was like AI help with, AI help with. I'm like, so this is just Chat GPT, but in a separate app that you have to pay for? No, thank you.
AI advocate.
I reject that on principle.
AI divorce advice?
Yeah, my robot lawyer is advising me.
I don't have
It's
any
just,
words.
like, crazy. It's such an emotional experience, a divorce. I just don't understand how you could be like, this robot gets it. It really understands the intricacies of my feelings about the termination of my hopes, dreams, and future.
My blueprint for divorce, again, I will go back to this for in perpetuity. Shiv and Tom Wamsgand's divorce in succession. When I think divorce, that's what I think. I think you conflict of interest, every top dog in the city. Is Tom Wamsgand or Shiv Roy gonna AI divorce?
No, but I do feel like for people with less resources, something like that, if
Okay.
it's done well, something like that would be valuable. But I'm not sure if Lisa and Jody are the ones that I would be like, those are the ones who are gonna. But, at least good for her for doing something productive with a period of her life that was utterly devastating.
Your trauma becomes your purpose. I love that. I love
Mhm.
that, Margie. I love
Yeah.
that.
It's not for nothing. Everything we go through, it's not
It's
for
really
nothing.
not. None of it.
And we do learn that Lisa and Jody are not engaged yet, but in the little scenelet we see of them, it doesn't seem to be bothering Lisa. I think that was just on the heels of the finalized divorce, and she was afraid divorcee would define her if she wasn't engaged. So, they seem great.
Yeah. Oh, God. Stephanie.
Stephanie,
We see her telling Masood that she wants a call from her sisters, even just one. And then she's wiping her tear with her cloth napkin. And, wiping a tear with a cloth napkin is just not a very satisfying experience. Kleenex really absorbs a tear. Cloth napkins just feel like they're, I don't know. Anyway, it took me out because that's a sensory thing that it makes me itchy. Anyway, so that was just something that I noticed. So we see her end card says, soon after Stephanie's dream came true, one twin started talking to her, but the other did not. Team did not talk to Stephanie's sister.
and also like that's vague. I'd like to know what the conversation was. I mean, I do hope for healing. Like, there's no reason families go through things. It's not fair to rush anyone through a period of where they need space and distance. Like,
But
let 'em
Stephanie
be.
is a businesswoman and she has things to do and she's very busy. She has things to do. Adriana, I cannot be late. You cannot keep me waiting for 20 minutes. I have things to do.
I've never gone to a Christmas party and been like, excuse me, the agenda said that we'd be dancing by now and we're still waiting for a performance. I'm confused. I'm really having a bad Christmas now. It's like, you're insane. And that's not how bosses act. It's just insane. Not good
No.
ones. And then we have the scene between Marysol and Alexia, which I thought, again, was demonstrative of the depth of their friendship. Marysol asks Alexia how she's going to fit into the picture with Todd if they stay together after all the shit she's talked about him. And Alexia just goes dead behind the eyes, which made me think like she knows it's over with Todd. She just hasn't said that to him or to herself maybe wholly yet. She says he'll have to get over it because Marysol will always be her friend. And it's unconvincing that she would ever have this kind of conversation with Todd. And they're both weeping because I do think they both know it's over for Alexia. And that's really sad. It's just sad. And then we get the little title card information that says the divorce has been finalized and they tried dating, but they've broken up. For now, we'll see.
In the gossip headline that they showed when they were doing this end card, it said that the divorce was finalized in May of 2025, but I'm fairly certain in April they were spotted together. And who knows, man? Ay, ay, ay. 3-part reunion. If it's 3 parts, I mean, we all know that one of the reunions is going to be filled with significant amounts of fluff.
But I like Miami fluff. You know what I mean?
I do too.
Anything they do is compelling.
Margie, what else did you watch this week, friend?
So this week I went to go see the little premiere event for the Lilith Fair documentary, which was amazing. And it was at the Ford Amphitheater, the
Oh, yeah.
outside
I love
amphitheater
the
built
Ford
into
Amphitheater.
it's so
Oh,
beautiful.
I
And it
love
was
it.
we're at the end of summer out here, and it was just like a gorgeous night. And it's really, really well done. It's fascinating. It's just every time I look at these series or documentaries that show the culture of the 90s and early 2000s, I'm shocked by how much misogyny was just acceptable, from myself included. There's a whole segment of this documentary. Paula Cole won a Grammy for one of the songs that was on the album that she was touring with the Lilith Fair with. And at the Grammys, she raised her arm in celebration, and she had armpit hair. And I had forgotten it. But then as soon as they showed it, I was like, right. And then they show all the late night hosts making fun of her. She has Don King in a headlock, blah, blah, blah. And she says, they interview Paula Cole, who's like, that whole experience, the Lilith Fair, my album, my Grammy win, got reduced to armpit hair. That's what it was. And I was like, holy fuck. I didn't remember she'd won a Grammy, but I remember the late night jokes about her armpit hair. And that was the 90s. Anyways, the documentary was really well done. And then I watched Salt Lake City, of course, and we can talk about that a little bit more. And I think that's about it. How about you? What did you watch this week?
Still comfort watching Roni like it's my job. Honestly, I think that's it besides Salt Lake City. Yeah, I haven't even watched Orange County yet.
Me neither.
Yeah, so Salt Lake, as much as I hated the premiere, the second episode made up for it, and then some. Here are my 3 takeaways. Conversation between Heather and Bronwyn around the breakfast campfire. Heather is having one experience with motherhood. She's very excited to have her home just to herself. Bronwyn, I asked my daughter to stay, so much so that I let her boyfriend move in. This is my projection, okay? Because I can relate to both of these women. Heather, I probably has some judgment going on, like that mother guilt. You must always consistently love being a mom. How dare you get excited for your own house? How dare you be excited to finally have a space and time just for you after being a mom for however long she's been a mom? Majority of the wives by herself, okay? But you're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to. Society, even in this year, still doesn't let moms be anything but moms without a boatload of bullshit projected on them and judgment. So Heather hears Bronwyn say that. It goes through that shame filter that society has put on her. What I got from Bronwyn is that she doesn't want Gwen to leave yet, because I have a feeling that Bronwyn probably hit her stride as a mom as Gwen got older. So I have a feeling that's why she wants Gwen to stay. Like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I didn't get good at being your mom until a few years. It was hard. Her in-laws didn't want to have anything to do with her. It was traumatizing, her new motherhood experience. So Heather is taking it personally, while Bronwyn is saying, however inadequately, maybe, no, I get it. Here's my experience because of my shortcomings in new motherhood. So they were on the same page, but it didn't land with Heather. So I was really glad to see that. But I had a feeling. And so, because I share that, I had a terrible time in new motherhood. And as much as I know on paper, and as much as my psychiatrist and my therapist has tried to explain it to me where I was coming from, where I was at that time, I still can't get those years back where I was bewildered, out of my depths, completely hating myself, not knowing what to do. The C-section and the breastfeeding, both traumatizing me. It cast a shadow over the first few years. And so I also want to make up for lost time. So anyway, again, projecting like hell, but that's what I got. And then the scene with Robert Jr. and Mary, when he shares that he is using food, I was like, damn, you never hear men talk about using food. You never do. And the fact that he's using food, obviously, as someone who did that for many years in many different ways, that was heartbreaking. And when he said he was using cannabis, but he hasn't gone back to using benzodiazepines or opioids, I was not judging that. I am not 100% sure yet Like, the more I look at cannabis use as an ancestral medicine versus a stigmatized drug, you're a stoner, you're a loser, you're a burnout, like, I wonder if that could be a helpful tool for him to stay off of Xanax and Norco. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. I don't fault him for doing that, is what I'm saying. And like you and I always talk about, getting sober is not linear. It is so full of like ups and downs and bouts of sobriety and not. So, and then obviously the fucking last scene is why we watch these shows. It did not feel produced to me at all. That felt like classic Housewives. Yeah, like the hidden camera. That fight between Lisa and Bronwyn was... Lisa is out of her depths. She is so... Her insecurity is palpable, and she can't... she's just so incoherent when she's backed up against the wall.
She just can't match wits with Bronwyn,
She cannot.
who is just like on it and relentless, and it's great.
I am so excited. But yeah, that's it, man. Just vintage Roni and Salt Lake City. That's it.
I just want to offer a slightly different perspective.
Oh my God, I can't
on
wait. Yes.
on the Salt Lake thing. So like I totally hear everything you're saying. I reacted, so I'm not a mom, but I'm a kid of a parent. And if I were her daughter hearing, I just want to close that chapter of my life, I want that chapter behind me, I would be devastated, because that makes me feel like I am a burden, I'm unwanted, I'm resented, I held you back from something you wanted more. I didn't fucking ask to be here, dude. Like, I am so sorry, but like, I don't know. That made me ache for her 17-year-old daughter at home who has to hear her mom say, like, I want that chapter closed. You know, that's a tough thing for a teenager to hear. I heard language similar to that when I was a kid, and it has stayed with me. Because you don't want to hold the person you love back from something they want to do, but you also are a kid and you can't do a life by yourself yet. So it's like you feel like it can make you feel like a real piece of shit. So I wish Heather had found slightly more delicate language to broach that topic, like the language you used of having devoted your life to caretaking. It would be lovely to have some time and space of your own back, as opposed to like, I can't wait for that chapter to be closed. It's a reminder of the misery of that marriage. And it's like, that's not your kid's fault. That's not your kid's fault. And the last of the three is just like, sorry. Sorry that I was born last and I'm your like vestigial nightmare, but I'll get out of here as soon as I can. And then with Robert, yeah, I feel like I was actually happy. I do feel like he's progressing. So I've dated scores of alcoholics, and so many of them in early recovery did turn to food, because it's like the addiction transfers for a while. And if it's something that's killing you less or less quickly, great, dude. Crank up the porn, get your fucking carbo loading on, do whatever you got to do, just like to stay away from the opioids that these days are laced with something so dangerous that you never know if you're going to get or not. Like, great. And we talked about it earlier, the cannabis thing. I do. Yeah, I think it's unknown how it can help. But like we always talk about on this podcast, if it's used in conjunction with talk therapy, there's a much higher percentage shot of it breaking good, you know? And it feels like if I have addict tendencies, which I do, and I'm left to my own devices to decide how I'm going to use a drug, I am likely not going to go down a great path. Maybe I will initially, but like I'm just prone to self-destruct. So I find it very helpful to have therapists or psychiatrists or someone observing or witnessing or helping me make those choices along the line.
That's a very helpful reminder, what you just said, because again, I have been going to therapy since I was 16 years old. Talk therapy has been one of the more consistent things that I've done. It's changed a lot. I don't sit here and say that talk therapy is the alpha and omega of whatever is going to help you recover from whatever. I'm just saying that's what worked for me. And so you're right. Like, my cannabis use is done very mindfully. And it does feel like Robert Jr., he's not in denial. He was telling his mom everything, and he's telling us, like, he's telling strangers. He's telling, like, however many thousands of people watch this show.
It's such a service he's doing.
yeah, you're right. Like I automatically assume, not automatically assume, but I can't help but look at things with the experience behind me. But I know that not everybody has done what I've done. And so I don't know, man. It's just fucking hard to be a person. It's hard to be a human.
It
It's
is. But
hard.
he's going through the hard parts, and I'm hopeful for him. The only thing I worried about was him talking about loneliness, which is
Oh,
such like
God.
for, you're engaging in, prescription meds or meds of other kinds in community with doctors and supportive people under your roof and stuff. And Robert was just saying, like, I don't have anyone to hang out with. All the people I used to hang out with still do drugs. I can't hang out with them. So I'm alone with me. And like, that's where I found great relief in 12-step communities. It's like, as lame as it is, you have somewhere to go. And it took me a couple years to start getting well in 12-step rooms. But I would always just remind myself, like, you're not going to get sicker for sitting for an hour around people not self-destructing. So like, just do that. And lo and behold, here I sit with a friend of 25 years from just, forcing myself to like go sit around other people for an hour.
Trying to find a parking spot on fucking Beechwood Canyon to get to that
God
meeting
damn it.
by the time it started. And because if you didn't get there by the time it started, you weren't allowed to share.
And all the goddamn driveways that looked like parking spots and the people who half parked and left half his car length. God, just, that hot ass room.
I can't imagine what it's like to be trying to get sober and all of your friends are still using. That is something that I've never experienced. Because again, my addiction was with food and my disordered eating. But to like have all of your friendships based on drug use, I can't or drinking, like, and then you have to go and find new friends. Oh,
I mean, that was sort of my experience because I got into therapy and started in 12-step rooms for eating disorders in New York, but that's when I was still a dancer, where eating disorders are like a competitive sport. The less you eat, everyone's looking at your scooped out bagel and how much of it you ate. Throwing up was like, just obviously before you go to eat, you have a snack and then everybody goes and barfs before class. Like, I don't know how the fuck I tore my hamstring. That's the only thing that saved me. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and that's how I actually started to get well. I don't know if I would have gotten well if I'd still been in the dance community. And again, that was the dance community in the early 2000s, where it was that world of just like heroin chic. That was a strange era. And it's one of those things where like, I hate it, but I can see in that moment how everything happened for a reason. I'd never been more destroyed by an injury in my life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I was like, this is the end of Margie McGee. And then it opened up a whole new chapter and I got well and blah, blah, blah. But, it comes with a lot of, all of my shifts come with like seismic pain. I've never had like a gradual, like, ooh, I didn't see that even happening. It's always like something dramatic as fuck. But as my best friend from kindergarten always tells me when I tell her my latest insane life story, I'm like, why? And I always say, why do things like this keep happening to me? And she goes, job security. I'm never at a loss of stories to tell, ever. My life is a hilarious, ridiculous, insane chronicle.
if I may, to borrow lingo from your profession, your improv profession, your comedy background, to circle back, your trauma led you to your purpose.
Oh, God. Why has it got to be like that?
Motherfucking circle. Anyway,
Love
I'm
it.
so excited for this season. I'm so excited.
Me too.
And friend, what was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant this week was Wednesday. So I've been doing a lot of pretty intense work. And Wednesday, I took a day off as instructed by mental health professionals in my life. And I went to the dentist, which I was overdue for. I got a haircut. I did a show at the Groundlings and had a blast because I wasn't late because I had been trying to cram in a bunch of other shit during the day. Like, it was a great day. And the rest of the week was impacted by the fact that I took Wednesday off. Thursday and Friday have been busier, but that day was so precious, and I took care of stuff that I'd been putting off, and I feel better on every level because of it, So that Wednesday was my antidepressant. And how about you? What was
I love that
yours?
so much. It must have been such a pressure relief to get on there and just like groundlings it out for a performance. And I'm so happy for you. Oh, I'm so happy for you. I love that. I love that day. Let's see. Classic Roni, 10-year-old Roni is one of my antidepressants. We had a lovely Rosh Hashanah with my mom's. My mom's best friend lives 2 hours away from the Bay Area, and her kids live about 3 miles from me. So we all get together every year on Rosh Hashanah, and it's lovely. I read a book to Leo's class on Monday for Latina History Month. Fourth graders still really appreciate a picture book. And I cried, and I told his class, I'm like, there's going to be a couple parts in this story where I'm going to cry. Just be forewarned, and no one cared. Someone asked a question at the end. It was lovely. Let's see. I had a great doctor's appointment with one of the amazing women on my care team. The funk I've been in for since my surgery, probably hormone related. So we did a little hormone adjustments, and I already feel better, and I already have hope restored because I was like, why am I stuck in this loop? I can't get out. What is happening to me? Anyway, and ADHD meds also helped out a lot this week. Better living through chemistry, as I always say. You can quote me on that. I've been solo parenting this week while Josh has been traveling for work. He's got some more travel next week. And I did a great job. That has not always been my experience, to do a great job solo parenting. My ADHD meds and my lists, just making definitive choices, it really served me. And so I got a dopamine hit from that. I'll take it, man. I will take it. I feel so much better than I did a week ago.
Good.
Yes.
And I love the specificity that you brought to your doctor of I seem to be picking fights with the people
Yep.
under my roof every Tuesday. Is there something in my medication schedule that is not serving me anymore?
Mm-hmm.
As I love that you're so aware of what's working and how things when they stop working, because it's all constantly, as you say, titrating constantly
Every day.
I keep waiting to get the exact formula that I'll do for the rest of my life, as if my body metabolism, brain function, joints, as if everything isn't changing on a daily basis. It's like I just have to relax and allow things. Just be aware when things are shifting and no longer working, and just gently get curious about what might be a way to adjust to manage how things are now. So you're a great example of that.
Oh,
And I
thank
love
you.
hearing that you're already having some relief.
I hate to fucking suffer. I hate it. I hate it when I don't feel like a fully functioning adult, or when, oh no, what I mean by that, scratch that. What's underneath that is I hate when I cannot rely on myself. I hate when I don't feel resourced. I get so anxious about figuring out why. And then all of a sudden it's just clear and I'm like, oh shit. And then I had a professional, highly qualified professional go, abso-fucking-lutely, let's do this. And I was like, oh, thank fucking God. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to have a care team that man, they really helped me. Anyway, my God, talked for a very long time. This episode gave us a lot of things to discuss. And Salt Lake City, I felt like we needed to give that some time to allow it some space, invite it into our discourse. Oh my God. You know what? I understand if everyone's sick of hearing my voice. With that, I will say thank you for listening. Please take dear, dear care of your sweet selves, whatever that is, man. Whatever it is. Classic Roni, can't recommend it enough. Whatever. Just do it with love. Margie.
That's it. Everybody take good care of yourselves, and we will talk next week.
We'll talk next week. I love you, friend.
Love you
All right.
too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.